I'm Jamie Wise, and this is my story of how I became an international male model. Hello and welcome to chapter 3 of what happened during my time as an international male model. So I finished off the last video by basically explaining how I got on a plane to Milan with only a few days notice. I hadn't really done much traveling and I had no idea what was in store for me. I really had no idea what was in store for me. You know, I'd been modeling for maybe a month at this point, but I still didn't understand anything about the fashion industry or modeling in general, and I was going in blind. So I was on the plane, and obviously on the plane there are so many nerves. You know, I'm like, what am I doing? Where am I going? How am I going to afford the next few weeks? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, is this something that I need to do? And I'm already on my way. I have no idea how to get around Milan or anything like that. So I'm just going to go step by step. And the first thing you do when you fly into a new agency is you basically just go straight into the agency. So with all my suitcase right off the plane, with all my hot gear, etc., because it's very, very cold in Milan at this time. It's very, very foggy and misty. It was freezing. And I go into my agency with all of my gear, all of it. And basically it is buzzing. The agency has about 30 models in it. Everyone's going crazy. It's super busy. And I'm like, wow, like, this is crazy. It's so different to my London agency. Milan must do things really, really seriously. And so, you know, I sat there and everyone was going up to agents and I saw all these interactions. And this is the kind of person I was, you know, I observed how others behaved with the agents, how the agents behaved with them. And it was so interesting. With some guys, they'd be really sort of like, don't care very much. Other guys, everyone would stand up and start fawning all over them, etc., etc. And there was me, someone who didn't consider himself a model, who was really quite shy, honestly, just sitting there, waiting for my turn, you know? And so I walked up to the desk and I said, hey guys, I'm Jamie, I'm from England, and yeah, it's nice. And everyone was like, okay, just go sit on that table over there. And we'll talk to you when we get a moment, okay? And so I'm like, yeah, okay. And so I go and sit at this table out of the way. All this buzzing stuff is happening, and I sit there for almost 3 hours. I sit at this table for almost 3 hours. I didn't want to interrupt anymore. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to do anything bad. My agent, before I went there, had explained to me about how amazing this opportunity was. I don't want to screw anything up, you know? So I sat there for 3 hours, just completely ignored. And then eventually, when I finally did get to speak to someone, I spoke to the owner, well, the head booker of the agency. If you didn't know, within agencies, there's several different positions. There's the owner, there's the head booker of the male modeling section, head booker of the female modeling section, and then basically bookers go down in the seniority, and generally new faces will be dealing with the most new booker. And a booker is someone that books jobs, gets castings, etc., and it just ensures that you're doing everything that you need to do. And so, you know, I'm waiting then, and they finally talk to me, and I'm like, hey, yeah, okay, and I'm like super nice, and like, okay, yeah, I'll do everything. And this is when I discover that I'm gonna have to be using a map. They gave me a map, like an actual physical map, and I was to take that home. They gave me the address of this place that I was staying, this hotel. No idea how to get there. I had to figure it out on my own. And then they let me go, and I was outside, you know, and that was it. I'd waited for 3 hours. I was a little annoyed about that, I'm not gonna lie, but at this point I didn't feel like a right to be annoyed. And so then I was out of the agency and I was in Milan. It was freezing cold, it was dark, it was very, very, it's quite a dark city, you know, there's like graffiti everywhere, it was quite dirty, especially the area that I was in. It wasn't what I was expecting of somewhere in Italy, because I'd never been to Italy, and I always assumed Italy was going to be this grand marble palatial sort of experience, but really it was just these like windy alleyways, as I say, very dark, very, very cold, because the fog in the place just sapped all of the heat out of everything. And so I'm making my way home, and long story short, my hotel happened to be maybe about an hour outside. Like, I had to travel a super long way to get to this hotel, and I get off the metro station and I find the hotel, and it's this huge industrial looking building, and I'm like, where am I staying? Like, this is crazy. Another interesting little story, actually. On my way back from the agency to my hotel, they actually gave me to another model to show me the way. Actually, I forgot about that, and so I'm on the metro with these other models, and like, hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, I'm brand new. I just started. Oh yeah, I'm really super excited. Oh my god, was that not the wrong thing to say? All I remember was basically being blanked by the models that were meant to be helping me get to my hotel, and then this one guy who just would not stop saying things like, I did the Prada casting and they didn't cast me and they didn't get me in, but I know I'm a Prada model. I know that, you know, like all these other models, like they have no even idea, like I'm a Prada model. And he just had this like arrogance about him, and for me I was kind of like looking at him like, wow, how do you have so much confidence? Like I'm stood here feeling like an absolute imposter. But yeah, after I got off the metro, I was pretty much on my own. And then I went up to my hotel room, and really randomly, there was a Dutch guy there who was also a model, and his name was Dennis. And Dennis is still one of my really, really close friends to this day. And he was so kind, and he really helped me out. He became my friend for the rest of the time that I was in Milan, and it was really sweet, you know. What I didn't realize when I went into my agency the first time was Fashion Week was happening. So not only am I in Milan during Fashion Week with all these other models that are doing Fashion Week, but I'm not doing Fashion Week, but I'm in Milan. And so again, I was like, okay, well, I'm not a model. I'm not a fashion model. You know, I don't belong here, and it's okay. If I can get money, that's all that matters. You know, so that's all that mattered, was making money. That's all I wanted to do, you know, and I was going to do anything I possibly could to do it. And so I'd been in Milan for maybe 2-3 weeks. I still hadn't worked. I had made some friends. I was partying a little bit. I was enjoying the Fashion Week parties, even though I wasn't at Fashion Week. I was meeting a lot of new people, and I was generally just getting to experience what the ground level of modeling was like. And yeah, and then during this time, finally, I booked a test shoot. I booked a test shoot with this guy, and I went to his apartment building, and the first thing that he showed me was this very, very small pair of Armani underwear. And this is the first time that I've been shooting in underwear. I've never done that before. And this photographer was very noticeably gay. And it was just me and him in the apartment. And I'm not gonna lie, I felt incredibly uncomfortable because I didn't know him and I didn't know what I was doing, but also this apartment was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was full of plants. It had all this amazing art on the wall, and I was like, this dude is successful. Like, he's gonna make me successful, and I need to be successful. So, you know, I just buckled down and got to it. So I put the underwear on, and we started shooting, and he was so friendly and so kind, and it really put me at ease, honestly, and I really enjoyed shooting with him. But during the shoot, there was definitely an undertone where I could tell that he was sexually attracted to me. I could tell that, and it made me uncomfortable because, you know, at the time I just wasn't comfortable with that stuff. And so I left that shoot, and we got the pictures back, and they were beautiful. They were beautiful. They were like nothing I'd seen before. No other test shoot that I did, and all those test shoots in London, I was like, this is it. This is the kind of photography that I wanted to be doing. This is how I want to be captured. It felt like the actor and the performer in me, and my ability, which I believed at the time, to connect to my authenticity and my emotions. It really felt like it came through on the pictures. And this just inspired me even more and even more. And all of this stuff was building a momentum of me accepting myself as a model and accepting that it was something that I can do. As a side story, this same photographer invited me to go out with his friends, basically to their country house somewhere outside of Milan. And as I say, I was new to Milan, so I was super, excited about it. See Italy? Yeah, please, I would love to. And so I was super excited about it. So I told my agency, I was like, yeah, so this guy, he's invited me out to the country with his friends, etc., etc. And my agency called me and they go, Jamie, we need to let you know, this man, he has had several people complain that he has tried advances on them, and so you can go, it's fine, it's no problem with us, but just be aware. And so I'm listening to this being like, I've just been in a photo shoot in my underwear with this man for almost 8 hours, and now you're telling me that he's got a history of this kind of stuff? So it was a little overwhelming, and I didn't end up going to the country, because I want to make money and I want to be successful, but I will never ever sacrifice my values for that, ever. And so I got those pictures and I did more test shoots and more test shoots, and then I booked my first editorial. And my first editorial happened to be shooting at Lake Como in Italy, and it's just outside of Milan. It's quite a famous lake. I wasn't getting paid for it, but I remember turning up and the clothes were beautiful. I had a full crew. They did my hair and my makeup. We were driving around in these expensive cars. It was the first time I felt like I was doing something incredibly creative and super high end. And it was really exciting. And I found out in the morning that I was going to be basically speedboating across a lake and just getting pictures taken of me while I just chilled in clothing. And I thought, wow, this is the best job in the world. Like, oh my God, like, this is how everything's going to be. If this is my first job, this is how everything's going to be. It's not how it's going to be. But I did that shoot and I was super happy. It took almost 3 months for the pictures to come out. It took a long time. It depends. From shoot to shoot, it really depends. Sometimes you can get a turnaround in a week. Sometimes it's a month. Sometimes it's even longer. It depends on the schedule of the release from the magazine, or it depends on a lot of things. And so, yeah, that was absolutely incredible, obviously. And then Fashion Week finally ended and all the other models had left town, and it just felt like it was just me in Milan, and it was incredibly lonely. I had a very long-term girlfriend who I was very serious about at the time, and it was very, very heartbreaking for me to be in Milan, to not be making money, to be entirely alone, to be in a country where I didn't understand anything, to be in a country where I can't use my phone, to be in a country where even the shops and the supermarkets were so culturally different to everything I had ever known. It was so hard. Like, I was going a little spare sometimes. And then all of a sudden I got this casting, and the casting was for Neil Barrett. And I looked into Neil Barrett, and he was an English designer, and his clothing was really, really cool. And so I was like, yeah, I'd love to go and do that. And the casting was for this thing called Showroom. And I had no idea what Showroom was, but I was like, need to make money, I'll do whatever. And so I turned up to Neil Barrett, and I got the job, and all of a sudden I was thrown into basically a month of every single day, 5 days a week, sitting in this room for 10 hours a day, waiting for clients to come in, basically fashion buyers who buy from the designer. They buy and they sell it in their stores, and they're called buyers. And so every time a new buyer would come in, I would be in the back, someone would come through, they would dress me, and then I would go out and basically just stand in front of maybe 5 or 6 people while they picked at the clothing, tested the fit. No one ever said hello to me, no one ever made eye contact with me. I was just a mannequin. That's all I had to do, and then I'd go back into that dark room in the back, and I had to stay there. And but during that time, I made a really, really good friend. He was another English guy from London, and he was so charming and so confident. And oh man, I was enamored by him. He was beautiful, and I was like, wow, like, you're a legit model, but also you're just a cool guy. And so we had some really good times. And it's really funny because during this whole experience, my girlfriend called me and she told me she asked me to come home, and she was crying, and it was really terrible. And this was happening almost every day. And I never forget my English friend at the time, who was the other model, was like, "Jamie lad, trust me, this isn't good. It's not going to work. I've been watching you for these last couple of weeks, and your mental health is just deteriorating. Like, you gotta nip this in the bud, mate." And it was very, 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 very hard. But yeah, I ended up ending the relationship then and there because I needed someone that was going to support me. You know, I wasn't having the best time, but I knew that this could be my future, and so I really needed to push through, and I really needed support, and I couldn't emotionally support someone else at the same time, you know. She was back home and she had her family, and you know, she was very supported, and I was out in Milan and I had no one. So it was a tough decision, but ultimately it was a decision that I had to make. And so yeah, showroom. I got paid maybe, I think it was something like 180 euros a day back then, and I calculated all of that up, and I thought, wow, like, this is going to make me a lot of money by the end. Like, I'm going to be flush with cash by the end, and it's going to be really good. And so I worked there for almost a solid month. I was in Milan for almost 2 months, just doing test shoots, this one editorial and the showroom. And it turned out, basically you get a printout of your account when you're leaving the country, and then they pay you what's left in your account. And I will never forget seeing this list of expenses: my hotel, my car from the airport, my cards, sending my package to clients. You know, the test shoots had been charging me and I hadn't even realized, you know. So I'd spent like 2 months in Milan and I came away with almost £800. It's not much, you know, and that's for like 10 hours a day sitting in this dark room while these incredibly affluent people come and pick at me all day. No one says a word to me, and I'm made to feel like a second class citizen. It was heartbreaking. I was almost going to give up there and then, you know. It really made me a little bitter, honestly, especially because of the way my agency had treated me. During this whole occasion, when I was working at Neil Barrett, I'll never forget, I got a job. No, I got a casting, basically, but I had the job. And the casting was at the same time as my job was. My job was making me money. The casting was for like an editorial, so I wasn't going to make money. So in my brain, I've been working since I was 14, 13 years old. So in my brain, the money comes first, the commitment comes first, the job comes first. And so I go to the job and I don't go to the casting, and I leave the job and I get a phone call, and on the other end is this very aggressively angry Italian man. And I am like upset already because I'm not happy in Milan. You know, I'm not happy with how I'm being treated. I'm not happy with the money I'm making. I'm not happy with being away from my family. I'm not happy with not being able to pursue my acting. And so this was the wrong time for this agent to call me aggressively. And so he was on the phone, and first thing I heard was, "Jamie, why you not go to the casting?" And I was like, because I have a job. And I'm going to the job because I need to make money, and I didn't know what I was meant to do. "No, Jamie, you go to the casting first, not the job. Like, come on." And this is me, and I was like, "Rogero, if you keep talking to me like this, then you're not going to have a model to send to a job." Like, you know. And so we got into this shouting match over the phone while I'm walking through Milan, depressed. I was so depressed. I was loudly singing Frank Sinatra in the empty streets just to make myself feel better and to be like, fuck everything, you know. Excuse my language, I'm very sorry. And basically 20 minutes later he calls me and he's like, "Jamie," you know, really patronizing, "Jamie, I'm sorry, I just want this thing to work and for you to get money. I'm sorry, and please come into the agency and hand in your book and everything is okay." And so I was like, "Okay, Rogero, okay, that's absolutely fine. I will do that. Don't you worry. I'll come into the agency." I never forgot the way that my agency treated me. I never forgot how little they taught me. I never forgot any of that. They gave me an opportunity, and I really appreciated that. But at the same time, to come with this opportunity also came with a lot of stuff which I really wasn't very happy or comfortable with, and I felt incredibly disrespected as a human being. And yeah, they would come to regret it. Let's just put it that way. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I know it's a little bit rambling. Please leave me any comments and ask me to change the way I'm doing anything. I'll try and speak more slowly, etc. But I hope you can understand what I'm saying. And thank you very much. Like and subscribe. I'm Jamie Wise, and yeah, this is my story of how I became an international male model. Thank you very much.